Good morning. Welcome to a tertiary world, a further reading of memories that arose for me as I walked down Park Street in 2008, one of 14 streets that I walked down forming a grid. And as I walked down each of these 14 streets, I was gathering memories that arose from the memory body that I built up over 4 decades, living inside 7 north, south, and 7 east, west streets. Park Street is the 3rd east-west street. Its colour is yellow. This is the first memory. Its colour is red. Lustrous poplar leaves hum in tune as the red oval ball sails through and over them repeatedly from March until October. Danny, John, Kerry and me play kick to kick anytime we can. Not much talking takes place beyond slanted compliments at a particular kick or a mark or a save to stop the football spilling onto the incoming traffic in Park Street. But we talk. I can't tell you how or what we say, but the air is brimming with communication, with urging, cajoling and yelling, with laughter and with exclamations of dismay, regret even. Below the poplars that line the narrow plantation, each afternoon is cool and its light is even. That's what my memory tells me, though I know that it could not have been the case. I remember how my hands smelled of leather from constantly caressing the football, and how ingrained the lines on my palms were with dirt. How my legs hurt so badly at night from the incessant running, how I would replay each kick, each move in my mind as I lay waiting in my bed for sleep to come. Some kicks I will never forget, awesome marks. Not necessarily the best, but for some reason unforgettable. I'll tell you 2 stories. One early warm spring day in 1965 on the Oval at Brighton High. Every single aspect of how a kick comes together from start to finish suddenly appears to me as an image, and I simply watch it from the walk-up to the follow-through, manifesting as easy as breath. I watch the ball curl through the goals far away in the distance as though it follows a predestined trajectory. My teammates turn and look at me in astonishment, and I look down at the soft green turf spread below me, embarrassed at how simply, how easily the unbeckoned magic has manifested in that very instant. And which mark do I remember? One afternoon at Como Park in February 1971, Paul, Henk and me and a few others are playing kick to kick. Henk kicks the ball to my end, it floats high, and somehow the next thing I know, I'm riding high above someone standing with arms spread below me. I remember having time to look around and thinking how lovely everything seems from up there. I remember thinking how this advantageous position from which I enjoy a view of the world I have not enjoyed previously has resulted from a seeming mistake, because I jumped far too early, earlier than I have ever before when attempting a mark. Then I grab the ball and fall easily onto the grass. Somehow I have always recovered from these visitations as though they had never occurred. Though if I knew then what I believe I know now, I would have fallen prostrate before the invisible entity and declared myself thrice blessed. Thank God I was so very unknowing, and perhaps unknowing because I was uncaring, and perhaps in reality I was able to be uncaring because deep down I probably knew. Nevertheless, beyond these utterly irrelevant computations, it's the lustrousness of the leaves above Park Street that lingers deepest, longest, and loveliest in my memory, as the whole shimmering, humming mass of the poplar's silver greenness joins in a seamless unison with the sun and the wind and the boys playing unknowingly, carefree below it. Park Street, with the corner of Princess Park, the third memory yellow. There's a low white timber fence that to this day marks the perimeter of Princess Park. On winter afternoons in the late 60s, I would walk from Canning Street to Princess Park to attend football training. Long grinding sessions in the mud. Suburban football grounds in those days were muddy heaps from May until September. In the mud that would involve, before even touching a football, running 2 long circuits around the perimeter of Princess and Royal Park, following the same white fence that then trailed off endlessly into the gloom. Training would leave everyone exhausted, and whilst most of my teammates showered noisily in the muddy, steamy changing rooms, I preferred to walk back home in my football gear. The journey would start at a very slow pace as all the bumps and bruises suffered through the evening exacted their toll. I skirted along the white fence before heading down Pigden Street to North Carlton. What's in all this? I'm unsure, but perhaps it's strangely that the clearest memory connected to the fence has nothing to do with football training or any of the 1,000 events that somehow might have been closely entwined with that part of my life. When I close my eyes and think of the fence, this is what emerges. My parents, my grandmother and my sister and I are all dressed in our best clothes and standing around the grassy patch where Pigden Street meets Princess Park. It's a bright spring day, and I think for a while we all managed to squeeze together on a nearby bench. My grandmother is wearing her usual black silk shirt dotted with a myriad tiny white spots, like an ancient crumpled night sky folding in and out of itself. At one point, as we sit, I notice that she stood up and is gripping the white fence with both hands while she looks into the greenness of the park. I walk up behind her. I notice that the veins lining the back of her white hands are bluer than usual. We are all here today because my parents have decided it's time to take some family photographs to send back to Italy. My grandmother is reluctant to pose, but she stands quietly where she's told. And when we are finished, she goes back to the fence, gripping it tightly as she insistently looks into the spring foliage, as though she's searching for something in particular. This will prove to be her last outing before she suffers from a debilitating stroke. It's as though, as she stands gripping the fence, she's looking out from the stern of a ship mooring in a strange new harbour, or perhaps as it weighs anchor and leaves its home port. Then again, and I have only thought this very recently, then again she may be looking into the depth of the sea in mid-ocean, in mid-voyage, wondering how far she's come and how far it is to the final destination. I still have those photographs of us and a photograph of my grandmother gripping the fence and looking away into the park. I look at them often. Until tomorrow, some more Park Street memories. Until then.